Good morning, everyone. How are you? And good afternoon, good evening for people across the world. Really excited to have you here today. So before we get started in the chat, let us know where you're joining us from. Excellent. I see people joining from Mexico. I have people joining from Aparna. I have people joining from Debbie. Welcome, Debbie. And I see Long Island. We have from Washington State, from UK, from Virginia. Fantastic. And Sherry, welcome from Redmond. Very excited to have you here. Atlanta, UK. I'm actually in LA today, so pretty excited to have all of you here today. Okay, so today we are here for Ask Me Anything. It's really a Ask Me Any question. So I am Chaitra Vedullapalli. I'm the president of Women in Cloud. I have with me some amazing guests today from Microsoft, where I will have them introduce themselves, and then we can get started. But the intention of this particular session is to really give you answers to the questions that the ChatGPT or Google cannot give you. So this allows the human expertise to come into life and help you navigate the new terrain you're looking for. So before we get started, I have a thought-provoking question for all of you. Let's do that one. Next slide, please. So when you think about the future of tech, what do you want to know? Why are you here today? And what do you want to learn? Put it in the chat for us. And here is a surprise. Whoever is very, very active with us, we will make sure we have some giveaways, maybe a $10 gift card, a Starbucks card. And it's really on me and Sherry to make the decision. Okay, but what do you want to learn today? Why are you here? There must be a question that's brewing in your mind that you want answers. Just put it in the chat for us. So with that, Sherry, welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. And Ivor, very excited to have you. Would you like to do a quick introduction? Who you are and why are you excited to be part of this conversation?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sherry Yang, and I am a content developer focused on data and AI and machine learning, beginner content specifically. And I've been in this role for the last 3 years. And what's been really exciting about it is to see the impact that that this material has globally to help folks change their careers, learn something new, and so that's been the global impact has been really really exciting to see.
Awesome. And Sherry, why did you say yes? I want to be part of Ask Me Anything question, because we have not prepared anything. We will tell really the real answers because there's no preparedness, right? We are coming here and helping everyone.
Yeah, so well, I heard about this from Debbie, and she's not on the slide, but it'd be great if she wanted to introduce herself. And Debbie's been working with Women in Cloud with you, Chaitra, and just really gave me a glimpse just for a moment of how exciting it is and what a great opportunity Women in Cloud is for all the participants. And so it feels like a great cause to be able to be a part of today.
Awesome. Debbie, do you want to say hello to everyone? A little bit about Debbie. She was the one who made the scholarship program come to life for the Women in Cloud ecosystem. She went and spoke to the leaders at Microsoft and said, we do need to create micro-credentialing strategy for the ecosystem where women can easily get access to the skilling. And over the last 1.5 years, we have distributed over 2,500 cloud scholarships. And today we will also be announcing a scholarship that Debbie has made that possible. So Debbie, welcome, and really excited to have you here. What drove you to say, let's go create micro-credentialing for women?
Thank you, Chaitra, and thank you, Sherry. I'm not on the slide because I'm not the expert. I feel I'm the connector here, which is a great thing to be. I was connected with Women in Cloud and Chaitra about 2 years ago and able to bring scholarships in at that time. And really excited to see over the course of the 2 years, I've been able to attend a lot of the Women in Cloud events, present about some of our certification strategies even. And that's been an opportunity for me to see what the needs are. And, I think sometimes people need a full certification path and they need to start really from the beginning and really get immersed in that topic and learn it. Maybe they're switching careers or they're new to tech. Sometimes they need to just know something for the job they're in. So maybe they're looking at a small how do I learn machine learning? What do I need to know about machine learning? And so maybe it's more of a briefer session that they need based on the time they have and the needs they have. Really, we have solutions for everyone, and we're happy to bring some of those solutions to you. So that is why I'm excited to be here today. Hear your questions. That helps us shape what we bring to you next, right? So I'm really excited to see what's on everyone's mind and the questions they have today. Thanks for hosting this session, Chaitra.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. So once it starts is everyone wants to know AI is the future. Absolutely. AI is the future. Should we be focusing on Copilot? Absolutely. You should be focusing on Copilot strategy because the more you are clear on that. The future of career, you do need to have a technology as part of your skill set. Without that, you will not be pretty much be even seen in the market because it's a $7 trillion opportunity market, the fastest growing opportunity market. And then that's what IDC says it's 7 trillion. But if you look at how all the other industries are growing, that one actually will get to be more like close to $15 trillion opportunity with the speed the AI innovations are coming in. Every day, there's like 30 new AI driven apps are coming into the market, but it's not connected. It's still at a very infancy stage. And we as individuals can come in and make the solution more comprehensive. So that's kind of what I would say. The future definitely requires a tech background, not from like the depth that you can develop the code, but the depth that you understand how the tech is integrated in your day-to-day life. It can be starts with your phone, connects to your apps, connects to the financing tools or financial tools. Everything is connected and you're using tech very deeply, but you get to really influence the creation of it. So Sherry, I have this one question which has come from Kyla is I want to increase my cloud engineering skills and I'm not sure the best route to take. Is there any advice you have for Kyla?
Yeah, so thanks for joining and asking that question. I want to also to share that Ivor Berry, my teammate, is in the chat helping answer a lot of questions. So I think that will really, really enhance kind of what we're doing today. So thank you, Ivor. And as far as kind of discovering a path, that is definitely what's the first step? That's a really tough question to answer for everyone, I think, because we don't know what we don't know yet necessarily, and we might not know what skills exactly we want to focus on in the beginning. So one of the things that's really nice about the Azure certifications is that there's a fundamentals material, and so AI 900 belongs to this group of fundamentals that also you can see that the WIC scholarship offers access to the security fundamentals content, and these fundamentals courses can give a background of how to get of what topics to think about next. But specifically, I think for if you could share in the chat what, if there's any topic in particular that you'd like to look into for cloud engineering. Later, we can also share some more information about the different journeys that there's some certification links and learning links that we can share.
Cool. And Sherry, to add to your point, let me give Kayla a couple of little bit more framework. Kayla, when you're thinking about cloud technology and you're thinking about engineering, you need to think about from the architecting the idea to really become like a UI experience. From UI, it becomes the code. Then from the code, it goes to testing. When it goes to testing, it gets packaged, and then it gets sold. There will be an adoption. And whole part of the journey, there are like 10 very strategic engineering-led jobs. And that jobs really you need to focus on. Like I'll tell you from my personal point, I love tech, but when I joined, I had zero tech knowledge. And I went and learned coding. Then I learned UI, UX. Then I learned DBA skills. Then I learned about relationship database skills. Then I did system integration. And then I also learned, which is the product management. What it came to recognize is I loved playing with colors. I loved working with customers, and I loved how to do the licensing of the software. And with that one, I said, oh, I love marketing that one. So the go-to-market excellence was my core competency that came out of. But it allowed me to go and look at all the different engineering skills to get there. So if you think about is look at what gets you excited. It's not one thing that you can have to do it. And once you have it, you need to have the fundamentals. Cloud has services based, so it's not like you just implement a product. These are services you have to learn. Once you learn those services, how do you deploy those services? And then how you integrate those services. And that is a new architecture of how you build technologies is what will be critical in how you define which pathway you take. It has to be driven by what gets you excited to create, what gets you where every day in the morning, you're like, I love talking about technology, but you need to know what about the technology you like to talk about. So do a self-discovery, and that will get you to the answer. And then, as Sherry said, there are fundamental courses that are available for scholarships. Apply for it. That gives you the understanding of how the services work. Is that helpful for you? Put it in the chat so I know that you got the answer for it. Okay, the second question is, how do I stay ahead of the trends? Sherry, I will give a little bit of a high level context and you can jump in, and Debbie and Ivor can jump in and answer. So how do you stay ahead of trend? First, I always look at who the hyperscalers are right now. Microsoft is one of the top hyperscaler in cloud technology, and you have their competitors too. The second thing you do is go in, look at their press releases. What are the type of press releases that they are talking about? What are the stories? Which partnership? What case studies are coming out? What kind of innovation are happening? That one will help you there. The third one is attend their events, their big events, which are like Inspire, Build, and Ignite. Go and listen to what the executives are telling the market, the signals. The current signals in the market is workforce development or workforce mobility is like number one on everyone's mind, even from executive to an employee to the contractor. Everyone is wanting is a mobile workforce, but mobile workforce has been disrupted even with COVID. First, they said remote. Now it says hybrid. They said now we have to come back 100% in work. So the whole conversation around remote workforce has been redefined over and over. And that kind of conversation will drive what? A newer innovation, the newer capabilities, the newer infrastructure that will come in. So that's kind of how you look at the trends. And then you say, what are big technology pieces that are coming in. We are looking at blockchain really taking off. You look at metaverse, then you look at quantum technologies. Those are the big trends that will happen in the market. And with that, and AI, you already have heard, which is the right after cloud is AI. Right after AI will be probably quantum. So think about those evolutions of how the infrastructure is getting upgraded. So you do get access to technology 24/7, powered by 5G. So those are the kind of trends how you keep in mind. Sherry, do you have anything to add to that one? Or did I answer the question a little bit effectively there?
You did, Chaitra. So I would just second everything that you shared. One thing I would add is that sometimes these events where there's thought leaders speaking are quite expensive and might be prohibitive to some people. So what I'd also suggest is looking into some meetup groups. And so PyLadies is one international group that I've really liked getting notifications for their events. And so they'll do like virtual events. And so when it feels really daunting that there's so many topics to possibly get familiar with, I like kind of just finding one thing that's interesting, kind of to what you were saying earlier, Chaitra, and going from there. And it's okay that you don't know everything about everything that is going to be of the future. I think it's much more effective to find something specific that you're interested in and that will fuel your learning journey for that topic.
Yeah, and Sherry, this is my guidance for most of the people. They say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I need to learn about. I said, how about you create a course on a topic? And that one will help you figure out everything. So let's say you are trying to talk about technology and you're going to create a course of it. What is your micro course? What are those 4 elements you'll be talking about? Because then you'll be going in a discovery phase and you will be a doer, not just consumer. Consumer is great, but once you start doing, then you will be getting ahead of the trends and you will know what's happening. Is that good for all of you? Excellent. There's one question is, how is the cloud using AI right now? Ivor did a fantastic job. It's getting inserted in everything right now. Most cloud offerings these days have some sort of AI involved, cognitive, sentimental, summarization, even analytics is using AI. Just look at the last release of the Fabric, which happened last month. They're revolutionizing Power BI and other analytics platform. So with that one, there is a scholarship also being made available, which is end of the September. Please apply for that so that you get access to those courses and you are ahead of the one because you showed up today. You know that you have a higher chances of getting access to those scholarship because people who show up in the Women in Cloud community, they put in their effort, they go in, you know, the door gets unlocked for them very quickly. So that is one thing I would ask is you please take action, please put in your effort, keep doing it, and then you start to see how fast the doors open for you. If you feel like something is not happening, absolutely reach out to us and Marissa and my team will unlock some other doors for you to be successful. Coming back to how cloud is using AI, right now the evolution, as Ivor said, is everything is going to be integrated and Copilot will be the strategy. If you're not using ChatGPT today, I would say go and open an account and start learning how to use ChatGPT. Learn how to have an interactivity with the technology, because that kind of interactivity is a very unique skill, because you need to learn how to give prompts or write prompts or create prompts to get the information you need. And whoever knows how to play with the technology where you can have a conversational, you will be ahead of the game. And that's a minimum skill you need to have going forward, because every interview you will be asked is, have you used ChatGPT? If you say no, what happens? You probably have no job after that, right? No conversation. So keep that in mind. That is a trend that is changing in the market. So you have to put in the effort to get there. Okay. Getting to the other questions. So how does AI and cloud connect? Sherry, do you want to talk about that one? How does AI and cloud connect? That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. We can actually go forward. a slide and see if there's, I could quickly talk through this, and then there's a couple slides and there's kind of this cloud connection piece. But when we talk about AI, I think we all have something in mind. And if we want to define it really quickly, it's the capability of a system to mimic human cognitive functions, such as learning and problem solving. And this computer system uses math and logic to simulate the reasoning that people use to learn information and make decisions. And if we break this down, we can think at a general level, AI works by using machines to take actions based on predictions, and these machine models can be customized with new data and tuning, and then they can be baked into applications through code, which are used to automate processes. And so to the question of kind of how AI and cloud are connected, there's all of the services along the way to implement each of these steps are services that that cloud services support, and so that's a little general version of kind of how we can think about how cloud services and AI interact. And then later on, we can discuss a little bit more. I think that, yes, so Microsoft's cloud stack, the way that it works is when people hear the term cloud, sometimes, and this is what, in the very beginning, before I learned anything, I was like, okay, yeah, it's storage. We know cloud storage, but the cloud refers to a network of remote servers that connect to the internet. And when we're talking about the power of the cloud, it's very much about the power of these various services, such as software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And these services allow businesses and organizations to access the same powerful technology that large companies use. And so the backbone of Microsoft Cloud is Azure, and other services are built on top of it.
Awesome. Was it helpful for all of you to understand that basic architecture? Put it in the chat. Yes, we got it. Or you're like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I want to kind of land this one because people need to understand how AI and cloud gets integrated. Fantastic. So
Yeah.
are you getting the benefit of this Ask Me Anything session? Do you feel like you're getting something out of it here? Or we are just having a conversation for the sake of conversation? Beautiful. Okay, first is let's give a big round of applause to Ivor, saying, Ivor, you are amazing because you are putting some amazing information. I wish you're on our team every single day. So let's give a big round of applause to Ivor.
And Chaitra, can I comment while this slide is up?
Sure.
As well. Thank you. So as you look at this slide, there might be areas that you know a little about, or there might be areas that you're interested in. So maybe you love working with data. You've worked with Excel before. Maybe you've worked with Power BI a little bit. Data is a very important area and very in-demand area. So that might be something you're like, oh, I want to learn more about that. And that might be how you pick your path or choose where to start, right? Because it can be overwhelming. Maybe Azure and infrastructure is where you want to be. Maybe you're more looking at Microsoft 365, you know, Office and Windows well, and you see a role for yourself there. Copilot is being infused into all of these products, which is very exciting. So this is a great way to look at the Microsoft. Oh, I should have mentioned security. Sorry, at the bottom, we've got identity, security management, and compliance. Security obviously is everyone's role. And so we definitely need more people in security as well. So when you look at this, that might help you start to decide where your strengths lie, because I'm seeing a lot of questions. How do I start? Where do I start? What roles are in demand? And so that hopefully gives you some context. I also put in the chat the link to a poster. This poster is updated every month, and it has all of our cloud certifications listed, and then you can click on the one that you're interested in, and it will take you to a description of that course as well. So a great way to get started on your journey. just wanted to add that.
Beautiful. I'm going to do a game, Sherry. I think it'll really land this particular cloud technology stack for people to really see how this stack really comes to life. So I have a question for all of you. I'm going to give you the magical power, let's say a magical wand, and I want you to create your co-pilot in your life, in your career, anything. What will that co-pilot look like? Sherry, what will be that co-pilot that looks like for you in your life?
I think something that would be really great, and it's interesting, the term co-pilot is also one that we're just all starting to use, and maybe we're referring to a particular product when we think about it. But if just we're thinking about the concept of a co-pilot that uses generative AI in some way to help assist with tasks, I think it would be really great to maybe. For me, I'm really interested in these TV shows, and it would be really interesting to get summaries of all of the information online that assists me. And if I want to write and recommend some shows, I get a summary of all different articles online in some bite-sized bullets. And another way that it's helpful is if you wanted to create a quiz, if you're that there's ways then that you can use that content to create those knowledge questions that might take a lot of time to do.
Okay, since Sherry, I love movies and you love movies, let's go and build a co-pilot technology as we are talking about. You talked about a curation. You want to curate the best of the best movies based on, let's say, a mood, like I want to watch rom-com genre. So it gives you the best of the top 10 identification. You can do it in the ChatGPT, but it only does is a generic one. It doesn't go based on your personal preference. So let's say if Sherry has a very personal preference, so she can set it up. So you have, let's say, a mobile app around it. Do you like a mobile app, or do you want a generic app, Sherry?
We could do a mobile app that's accessible to people. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we'll have a mobile app that can be created using the Microsoft Azure platform, because there is an app that gets deployed. That means there's a virtual machine that needs to be deployed. And that virtual machine also needs to be replicated and kept safe in the GitHub. So you need to kind of have the GitHub. The Power Platform can be used for pulling the data on the recommendations, whatever the recommendation she has created, because she needs to share it on LinkedIn. She'll share a code on LinkedIn so people can start liking and seeing and recommending and commenting. All that data, again, is stored in the database, but it can be pulled out of the Power Platform. Does that make sense? Like now you have the Power Platform taking care of all the analytics. Now, to make sure this app is safe and secure, you need to ensure people who are commenting and engaging, their identity is kept safe, their consent has been acknowledged, the security of the data is taken care, the management of the infrastructure to create this app, and that it's in compliance with whatever the GDPR strategies are. So that is what a compliance strategy. So that's what it takes for creating Sherry's co-pilot for movie recommendation. So you need the identity, security, management, and compliance, followed by Microsoft Azure infrastructure. The development tools is in GitHub, and the Power App technology for data and pieces, and LinkedIn integration for promoting and sharing. Is that helpful for all of you, how to think about technology now? Sherry, we can go build a technology. Do you like it?
Yeah, that would be a really awesome application. I think that what's really great is that these services, be it with Microsoft or elsewhere, the idea is that they can give you the capability to build at scale, and so there's a lot of possibilities that come from even just getting a start with something. And I think even understanding the architecture or the framework, just like you explained, Chaitra, is really helpful, how all the pieces connect together. And so in that way, also, when we're talking about kind of AI in the cloud, we're also talking about, for Azure AI, 3 different kind of groupings. And we can think of I like, anytime that I'm learning something new, I'm trying to put it in some kind of framework to categorize information and maybe even like you spoke to, Chaitra, how the supply chain kind of works, how one item leads to another piece in the whole system.
Oh, fantastic. So what my ask for everyone is thinking about is that supply chain for how you build your code. And then you can figure out is, do I want to be in the developing of the code or selling of the code? Very simple. That's just the life cycle. And once you know that you have the code development to sales and managing the customer, you will know there are hundreds and hundreds of jobs available for you. So my ask of all of you is go back today and think about your Copilot technology and write a narrative about your Copilot. It can be anything, whatever idea it is, write it down. And then you say, what does it take to build that technology? So now you are thinking more like an entrepreneur. And now what you have is, oh, that's the skills I need to learn to build this Copilot. Because when you go into the workforce, the narrative will be set. You have to work on creating those services. You have to create those prompts. You have to create the UI, UX. You need to build the code. Yes, there are a lot of Copilots can do everything, but the idea itself coming to life requires a very unique talent. And that is human beings are the only one who can come up with ideas, and the realization of the ideas can be done through technologies. Is that good? Say yes in the chat that you understood how to think about technology and how to really skill yourself to be those experts with AI. But you do have to learn AI to go build technologies, okay? Okay, there's one more question I have in the previously is, I did take my certifications, I got certified. What's next for me? How do I go about it? As I said, it's a basic skill set. You need to know the fundamentals. Now you need to figure out what's the next thing you want to do is, how do you find that job? So my basic idea of when I'm working with a lot of individuals who are looking for a job is figure out which cloud technologies you're going to put your bet on, how many years you're going to put a bet on. I put a bet on Microsoft technologies a long time ago and Oracle technologies because I could understand it was something that made sense. And now I'm expanding my portfolio, understanding Google and Amazon and Salesforce and others. But where did I put my majority of my bet to understand? Then look at which customers are using those technologies. If you have majority of your Fortune brands using that cloud technology, that means the market is huge for you. Because then even if you have a generic skill set, you can get into the market and become very specialized. So that is your second area that you need to put in your thinking cap is how many customers are there. The third area is which companies you want to work in. You need to identify that companies. You have to be very focused in going through it. You cannot just put in your resume across, multiple systems and hoping that magically something happens. Remember, AI is in action. If there is a bias in there, you ain't going to get the job. So you need to know which companies you need to work on. Then look at what jobs are available. And even if there are no jobs, look at who are the people who are in that companies that you want to talk to them, because most of the jobs are getting created for people who are proactive. You go talk to them, start adding value, have the conversation with the leaders. And if you say, I don't have the network, come to Women in Cloud. We are here to help you unlock that access for you so you can meet with the right people. Is that helpful for you? How to go about finding the jobs once you have the basic certification in place? Because now you can talk the language. And when you're articulating the language, people feel like, oh, you can come and contribute to the workforce. Is that helpful for all of you? Yes? No? Okay. Excellent. I see that. Let's see, Sherry. I'm trying to figure out where are all the questions. I cannot find.
While you're looking for questions. Yes, while you're looking at the questions, there's so many great comments and questions in the chat. I wanted to add to what you just said. I think the other thing I would do all of what Chaitra said is such a smart plan for figuring out where your passions are, where you want to be, which products you want to put your bet on, what cloud products, and then also what companies you want to work at. But I would also don't overlook the power of LinkedIn. So if you're earning these skills and you're earning certifications, be sure to put those on LinkedIn. Send a notice saying, I just earned this, or I just learned this skill, and have your network, reply and congratulate you on that. It's a great way to drive visibility for your work and efforts in these cloud areas.
Perfect. Thanks, Debbie. There's one question I have is, where can I find apprentice jobs in the cloud architect roles? So where can I find these opportunities, the apprentice jobs or, internship jobs, especially in the cloud now that I've got certified? Do you have any guidance in that area? Sherry, Debbie, Ivor?
I would love for anyone to chime in here. I see some audience members who may have answers even on this one, not to call anyone out specifically. So that is something that Microsoft does hire interns from time to time, but it's more Microsoft partners, I think, that are hiring interns to work on Microsoft products, or apprentices. I know also some government programs in different countries have apprenticeship programs connected with training through a training service partner as well. So definitely look for government opportunities as well as companies who use Microsoft products. I think for Microsoft, I haven't seen apprentice programs. If anyone knows more, can definitely tell that in the chat or online, come off mute, but definitely internships we do as well, but small scale considering how large our company is.
No, it makes sense. But here, I would say the apprentice job also will start with very similar researching. There are no formal, I don't see a lot of companies doing a formal apprentice jobs, especially in the current climate, because right now there are a lot of layoffs happening. But here is my suggestion for all of you, for you to consider. One is, once you know which company you have the list, talk to those people and see if they can open up an apprentice job for 3 months or 6 months that you can shadow somebody. Most of the people will be more than happy if you can bring in extra, I would say the attitude and aptitude to learn and contribute. They will open up the job. Even with Women in Cloud, when someone says, I can make an impact for you, I would say, tell me how. And if I like it, I'll say, okay, let's go hire you, right? Let's hire you for 3 months and see where it goes. And if you're great at it, you'll work with us forever. But it's really the willingness for you to give. And here is my 3 litmus tests when I'm working with people, and I'm going to share with you because it's a very important thing, and you can do the self-reflection. The 3 litmus, the litmus test, the 3 question is, the first one is, are you a talker or a doer? So if you're only talking about all cool stuff, but you cannot get things done, then there's very hard. So rate yourself. Are you a talker or a doer? That's one. So because the doers will always get opportunities in eternity. That is just, I can write it, that one for you. I can write it and confirm that. The second one, are you a taker or are you a giver? Are you taking things from people but not have the ability to give? Then the chances is you aren't going to get anything. So it's kind of very important is the giver piece. The third one is being negative or positive. Do you bring positive energy to the world and you're making your ecosystem much brighter? You will always, the doors will open. So rate yourself saying that, am I a talker or a doer? Am I a giver or a taker? Or I'm a negative or a positive person? And negative is very important. This is an attitude thing. If the attitude is oh, you have to tell me what I should do, you are not positive, right? You're creating more work for the people. The goal for you is how fast you can take someone's work out of their plate, you can take it, you can get it done, and the person says, wow, that person really can get things done with such a great attitude, and they also give to the team they're working on. These are the people who get amazing jobs, amazing compensation, and a great life to live on this planet. So think about these 3 questions. It's a litmus test for you. I always look at in every relationship, am I doing that? If I'm not doing that, what can I do so I can add value to the people I'm working with? Is that helpful? It's really a philosophical question, but it is the right question because every leader is looking for help. And if you can create that help and support them, not only apprentice job, you'll have a real job and a leadership job to lead in the tech industry. That's what we need. That's the kind of people we need, because you can acquire the skilling, you can acquire scholarship, you can get everything. But if you don't have the attitude and aptitude to make an impact, you aren't going to stay there in a long term. Does that help for you? That's the most powerful advice I've got, and I've used it for the last 28 years in my career. It has served really well, and also we are able to give it back to the community. Sherry, what do you think? Do you feel like that's a good litmus test to test your personality of what you can bring to the table?
I think those are really great things to keep in mind. And so that was powerful advice, Chaitra. I think also the only piece I would add in specifically to kind of bridging some gaps between, before you get that first apprenticeship, I totally understand that you can have all these skills and you can have the certification and you have all these things in your basket, and it's still the effort of getting that first and second maybe opportunity to showcase what you can do is can be tough. And so something I did was, as I was learning information, I blogged about it occasionally on Medium. And so I can share that there's a creators program and you can earn money from that as well. And as I worked on explaining some of these concepts back to myself, another thing that I did was try to apply it to my own project. And so we talked about GitHub earlier, but you could create a GitHub project for yourself, use one of the examples that is online. I can share some links later, and write a kind of a business case walkthrough yourself of how you approach a problem. And so those are just some other things that you could share on your LinkedIn or share in other ways that can show, hey, I haven't had that first apprenticeship job, but I could solve a business problem. And then you can present that, like Chaitra was saying, to folks. I saw in the chat, education is a great way to nonprofits, kind of folks who are already doing training out there, to help those folks, reaching out to those folks to start using your skills there. Those are other ways to get started.
Yeah, I think, Sherry, like starting a nonprofit route and adding value to them and getting access to the network to get into a real job, absolutely a great pathway. I also see Deloitte has cloud strategy entry-level jobs, and Accenture does apprentice and internship job. Right now, we are in a double winter environment. That means it's a recession, but not talked as a recession. Just know that we are actually in recession. We are in that space. So a lot of the companies are optimizing pieces. They are not investing in growth. They're not investing in hiring more people. So during the optimization process, this usually happens every 8 to 10 years in tech, but this time it's called double winter. So that means it's usually 2 to 2.5 years you're going to feel the pinch of it. So when you're going through that, you have to look at what are the strategies that you can bring to optimize the technology. That means how can you consolidate? How can you sunset? How can you make the same technology better and scalable? How can we bring the right set of people who can optimize? It's a very different mindset. The mindset is more around profitability of the company, because they want to make sure the company survives through this one. It's not about hiring. It's company can survive, and during that process, they're looking for consultants, they're looking for interns, they're looking for apprentices, all to help with that work. So if you have any skill set in mergers and acquisition piece, you will be golden during this time. If you have skills around optimizing programs in the past or consolidation work, you will have a huge, so your language in your resume needs to talk about it. Especially people who are coming from the non-industry into tech industry, keep that in mind. The language of how the technology adoption that's happening is very different than 2 years ago. Even when you look at AI adoption, they're looking at AI adoption from optimization perspective, not from growth. They're looking at how can we sunset some of the people roles through AI so that it is more optimized, it is less to deal with negative management of people. And there's just a lot of things that the CEOs are talking about. So keep that in mind, is what is the trend in the market, what's the sentiment in the market, and your resume needs to reflect that component that you can come and add value. Is that helpful, Sherry? That's kind of my thing, is when I'm looking for is, can you come and add value to the team right away? Within a week or two, you should be able to add value. So the other question I have is for returnship. People is path forward focusing on returnship at many of the US companies. I would say is always have your fundamentals right. Get understanding of where you can come and immediately add value and identify the companies you can add value. If you don't have the internship or apprentice job, have conversation with 5 or 10 people and then create a role, a consulting role, so you can come and consult for that company so you understand the culture. And when the job opens up or the job ID opens up, then apply for the job. You probably will be the first in the candidate pool that they would love to get you into the company. And I've seen many of the individuals do that, and it's pretty fascinating. I have also seen people who have created a company with a set of people, and they have gone to a company and say, we can come and do a consulting agreement. They did that. And then they went and said, what if you take this entire talent pool, integrate in your company, and they all have got a full-time job and a fantastic compensation package. That is also possible. You have to be very creative in the current market. Okay, so this question is, what if I'm a doer and a taker? I would say if you're a doer and a talker, Aradhya Adharika. So if that's the case, that's a fantastic question. If you're a talker at that time, if you have done something great, but just don't talk about yourself, please make sure you give the credit to all the people who made it possible, become their ambassador for the work, for the team, for the community. Then your talking becomes very powerful. Otherwise, it's very self-engrossed and self-human being. That is not something people care about. So use the talking as a powerful tool to represent the larger community, and be the doer to make sure the entire team is successful and they are making, they are all accomplishing, because you have a voice, you have a power to really influence a lot of people. So use that blessing and your superpower to make a greater impact, not just for yourself. So Joshua says, is this community only for women? This community is for everyone, because we believe is economic development happens when both the genders are equally contributing to the growth. And we appreciate men coming as allies to support this economic development. However, that said, we also want to make sure we are skilling women from the right skill set so they can enter the workforce from a technical capacity or a leadership capacity so they can grow as leaders in the tech industry. So there are one question, with AI as a hot and emerging topic, can you comment on the common scenarios employees are expected to see AI applied? Sherry, do you have something to add to this particular question? With AI as a hot and emerging topic, can you comment on a common scenarios employers are expecting to see AI applied?
Yeah, so actually, if we go to the next slide, and then AI principles are very important for ethics. That's not, but if we go one more, I think we should get to the workload slide. Awesome. Okay, so one way that we really think about AI is by workloads, and so in the industry, you can think of there's a need to combine these workloads together. And so understanding how the computer vision service could work with the natural language processing service and conversational AI service to build a whole application at the end is really useful. But specifically, I would say I would almost defer to kind of hearing from folks out there, and I can drop a link later for some case studies of what is happening on a large scale in different parts of industries. But I would say that understanding that there's these capabilities, understanding how machine learning, it's separate here as a workload, but it really is it's what's underpinning these other AI components is important. And so briefly, it's just what those machine learning models and really deep learning models that tackle more complex cases are used on the back end of these services, computer vision, natural language processing, these other workloads, to solve for out of the box, I guess, different scenarios. And then that's what's offered as a service. And then on top of it, engineers can come in and customize those machine learning models, those and work more specifically. And that would kind of lead into what Ivor specializes in, which is the AI engineering piece. And so you may only need to be able to speak to some of the key workloads. You may want to dig in and understand more of the cost and benefits of a particular technology. But if you have a general sense of the landscape, it helps to then when you're looking into specific case studies.
Perfect. And Sherry, I'll make it real from a customer standpoint of view. So these are all the workloads. Now let's talk about what are the common scenarios employees are expected to see AI applied in the enterprise sector, which is the Fortune brands ecosystem. First thing they're looking at the customer service. Can that be automated through is a conversational AI? So that means when they come to the website, they have a question, then the conversational AI is actually interacting. That means the $15 jobs or maybe $20 jobs will be the first one to be impacted because the conversational AI will take over that place. The second one is knowledge mining, is when people are asking for questions or FAQs or anything related to finding the answer to the problem. That is the second piece where you'll see a lot of the knowledge mining. So if there are roles which are just focused on developing content related to the knowledge mining, they are the second one to be impacted, right? Because that's the one. Third one is natural language processing. These are the ones which are focused on a lot around marketing and marketing workflows, because there's a lot of content that needs to be created for social media, for email, for any of the marketing conversation and sales conversation. That is the one which is going to be impacted very quickly. So that's the third area of transformation. The next one is when you see something and you want to really look at creating graphics or any related to, I would say, engagement related work, that's the areas. And then a lot of is the data related stuff, which is at the back end. Can the AI remove the multiple, I would say, duplicates and provide really the right dashboards and for decision making? That's where AI is getting implemented very significantly. So to do all that stuff at the a back end is your machine learning infrastructure. Do we have the right infrastructure in place to accommodate these conversational AI, the natural processing, to really provide the best and the world-class services to the customer so that the customers are not waiting, they're not frustrated, they're getting the right human touch they need. And so they are elevating the treatment of engagement with the customer more from a royal perspective rather than just a basic service. So those are the places where the CEOs are thinking about how the AI can be implemented as a technology for driving optimization, higher quality and well-being of people. So they're not doing the manual work, they're doing high quality work. So that is where you will see a lot of the AI adoption. So Karen, did I answer your question if you're still in the chat? And same thing happens in every industry. You can take manufacturing, you can take financial services, you can take healthcare. It is exactly, that is the area where the transformation will happen. So just look at it. And when you're talking to your customers, just find out is what are the manual processes that are happening? Why aren't they using AI? Or if they're using AI, what are they thinking of building out of the box or building something in-house? So that gives you a lot of depth on how they are going to adopt. But what I can tell you is within 5 to 10 years, we'll see a lot of the things driven by AI and we'll have a very good experience. But right now we are in a rocky experience because it's a new technology in the market. Okay, so we are 3 minutes away, Sherry. So is there anything you want to share? You were absolutely fantastic partner for doing Ask Me Anything series. And thank you, Debbie, for you too. So anything you want to add?
I'll just say it's, I know it can be overwhelming. It was, especially thinking that there's so many new changes coming every single day and how do you stay on top of everything? I think taking things one step at a time. So even coming to this talk is a excellent step, and you don't have to know everything. You can just once you start building a few pieces of information, you will get more clarity on what's next. And I know folks in this call are on really different parts of their journey, and you're from all over the world. And I would say leverage all the experience that you've had before, even if that is in a different industry, kind of to what Chaitra was saying, identifying the your superpowers within those projects that you've worked on before. And then ultimately for this scholarship, I would just say I'm happy, I saw in the chat, to provide some more information on certifications and then what might be some actionable steps after certification.
Thank you, Sherry. Debbie, do you have anything to add to Sherry's conversation?
Not really, but awesome job, Sherry. And thank you, Ivor, for being in the chat. Obviously, this topic is huge and the hour went super fast, which is what I just put in the chat. But thank you, Chaitra, for organizing, Marissa for managing, and really appreciate partnering with Women in Cloud and all the great work you're doing to bring more information to audiences and get more women in tech who are underrepresented today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Ivor, for really pulling this together. This was a first of a kind series, which is Ask Me Anything series. So if you see, we have not prepared anything. We are saying from what we know from our experience. So I'm glad each one of you showed up. Here are a couple of things for you to do before you leave. What were your takeaways? Just put in there, and one action you will take for preparing yourself to secure that cloud job. Put it in the chat because we want to make sure you're taking action, because we are doers. We get things done. We have a very high positivity and we love to give each other the support for us to grow together. So let's do that one. What were your takeaways and one action you will take preparing yourself for securing that cloud job? Keep clearing the cloud certification. Yes, Jean, we will celebrate with you when you do that. Starting a certification and a research industry-specific trends. Janelle, as soon as you find that research And please send it. We will post that as a blog post and give the credit for you so that you will be recognized as a person in the ecosystem. Big takeaways to practice a GitHub Copilot. Beautiful. I love it. And not every role will be perfect, but skill and portfolio building is essential. Very well done. I control my path. My next steps to continue on my coding when data scientist certification and blog about them, focused learning pathways, building my portfolio. Resource to understand cloud certification space and moving forward with certification. Beautiful. Look at that. Definitely study groups, if any lunch and learn sessions. And I have help partners find opportunity for internship and help them onboard people who are ready and new to tech careers. We should build step by step and be doers instead of talkers. I love you, Lauren. Beautiful. Get certified in AI. As we talked about, we have a lot of opportunities. There are 250 scholarships that are available for you. Please apply. Don't underestimate the power of these scholarships. I'm a benefactor of a scholarship for engineering. And look at me today, I'm able to contribute back. So take advantage of those scholarships because Debbie believed in each one of you that you can become the ultimate person in the ecosystem, and we need more of you. And second is there is an Insider Circle program that is really designed to cultivate and also celebrate leaders focused on your personal brand building. Second is helping you build your signature talk and building your executive presence. These are all the soft skills you need to have to be very successful, along with member by member networking. It is a paid program, but to provide the ultimate and the best service, we need some operational budget to make sure that we can provide you the service. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being fabulous, I got something out, 1 being it was not a good session. Tell me, how do you feel all? You feel like you got what you were looking for? I love it. I got the 10 plus. Look at that. 1,000, 100. I love it. This is how the Women in Cloud community builds and grows together. And we will have one more session in July and August. And we will want to talk about is if this kind of environment is a better environment to learn. If you feel like, please send a note to Marissa and let her know in the digital network that this added huge value. As I said, you won't find in ChatGPT, neither in Google. You can only find in a community of experts. And that is something we have here. Yes, Cheryl, it's a digital network and the team will put in the link, so you should be in there. So please take time to build your skill set, get certified, and then be active in helping us find what you're looking for, and we will get that door open for you. Again, with that, have a great time. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Ivor, for a fantastic collaboration with us. And Marissa, thank you for pulling this together. You did a fabulous job. Have a great time.